Happy Friday, everybody. Megan with Megan Knows Marketing and Tony Hody Consulting, and this is Rocky. If you've been on any of my consulting calls, you've probably seen Rocky because he makes himself known whether I invite him or I don't invite him. So this is Rocky, and we call him the Privacy Pup. We own a fence company, Privacy Fence Company, and Rocky is our mascot. So here is Rocky. Now, most marketers could really learn a lot from Rocky because Rocky is extremely assertive. He is not afraid to bark me down for people, food, or treats if he so wishes. Yesterday, he bit my finger going after a treat. So if we could all be just as assertive with our lead setting, we would have plenty of leads for our sales team. Speaking of that, I had a really interesting conversation with one of my clients today, and we were discussing the need to set extra appointments in the case that leads falling out after we issue them. So often we will issue leads to a salesperson, and before they get there, a variety of things can happen. Once they arrive, a variety of things can happen as well. But specifically, we're talking about the fallout and how we need to set extra leads to make sure that our sales team has somewhere to go, regardless of what happens. So what I mean by that is if we are pitching 80%, so industry standard 80, people will say between 75 and 85%. I'm just going to go with 80% industry standard pitch rate. So if I give 10 leads to a salesperson, they're normally going to present to at least 8 of those. The other 2, something will happen with. Sometimes they cancel after issue because the customer has a scheduling conflict. We could arrive and only one homeowner is there and we can't present without all decision makers or interested parties. Or sometimes we arrive and they forgot about us. They went out to dinner or found something they thought was more interesting than Window Dork, and off they went. So all of those things can happen. I guess the point that I am trying to make is that if we know we're pitching 80% and we have 20% fallout, shame on us if we don't set 20% extra leads to account for that. If we know this is our number and we know this is exactly how many fall out, why don't we set 20% more so that our sales team is always pitching the optimal 10 leads per week that we want them to pitch? And it was really interesting because when I was talking to my client earlier, he said that they had called someone and left a message and said they weren't going to make it. And we said there was a family emergency. Well, in my client's case, there actually was a family emergency. However, the customer responded with, wow, 2 other window companies also canceled on me with a family emergency. Someone pretty important in the window business in this area must have died. And as a business owner, you go, ugh, that's not what we wanted to hear. We didn't want to be grouped in with the herd. We didn't want to be seen as the same excuse maker all of our competitors are. So it was funny because we were discussing this, and really what I've boiled it down to and found out is the reason we don't set extra leads is because there is fear in the hearts of our call center that we won't make the appointment and the customer will be upset with us. That is a healthy fear to have, and it is a fear that should be addressed. What it boils down to is how we communicate with the customer. If you look at multiple companies' reviews online, good or bad, you will find most complaints are about communication. You will also find that most raving reviews are about communication. Therefore, customers really value that, and that's pretty fair to say at this point in society in 2021. And so when it comes to communication, if we let a customer know that we aren't able to make it before their appointment time and we have effective scripting put in place to be able to handle that, most customers are pretty easy to reschedule. Because if you haven't noticed, the chuck in a truck in our industry, the ones that don't show up for any appointments, and when they do, it's, driving their rusted truck. It used to have letters on the side. It doesn't anymore, but they're driving to the homeowner's house smoking cigarettes with the windows up. Yeah, you know that guy, Chuck, Cheap Charlie, Bubba's Butt Crack Roofing Company. We can call it what we want. Those guys set up appointments and don't show up all the time, and they don't even call. So the last thing we would want to do is be grouped into Chuck in a Truck's processes. So my point is that most customers are pretty willing to reschedule as long as we give them a good reason and we're truthful. you don't have to tell a lie if you present the truth properly. And that's really the important lesson here is effective scripting can be your best friend in many different ways. So if you don't have a process put in place to know exactly how many leads equals full on your schedule, and you don't have any scripting put in place to call those people and move those appointments around if needed, that's my specialty, and that's what I do. So I'm happy to answer any questions, and then if there's something I can do to help your team, I'm happy to share with you some more information on how we can do that. So that's all. I just wanted to share that this Friday, and I thought it was an interesting story to share with everyone. Several of my clients are all setting their call centers up this way right now, so felt it was very valuable for everybody to hear. So we'll talk to you guys later. Thanks.